Well, let's go live now to Laura Lee. She's the news director at Blue Ridge Public Radio, an NPR affiliate in North Carolina. Laura, I just want to start off, what's your reaction to this executive order by President Trump?
Well, I think my reaction is not dissimilar from those colleagues of mine across the country that we're disappointed that we're having this kind of assault on public media, but at the same time that we're resolute and continuing to do what we have to do to provide news and information to our local communities, which we do across the country.
We heard there, it isn't clear that the president has the actual authority to do this unilaterally, but if there are funding cuts passed by Congress, for example, what kind of impact do you think that might have on your station?
So for our station, it's about 6%, roughly 6% of our funding. So it's roughly $300,000. I mean, the vast majority of our funding comes from our community, from our listeners, from business sponsors. So it's not that it would have no effect. It would have some effect on us, obviously. I think it will have a larger effect, obviously, across the network as other stations who are more reliant. If they were to lose funding, that could, cause a potential domino effect that would have an effect on NPR, which could subsequently have an effect on us.
You said that a pretty big majority of your budget comes from listener support, donations, that sort of thing. What have you heard from your listeners, and have you seen any kind of increase in that support since these moves by the White House?
We've heard from our listeners consistently, our loyal listeners. We've been around for 45 years. Just how much they appreciate the services that we provide. It's funny that you asked this because we are in a fund drive right now. So we're hearing from them loud and clear that they rely on our services every day, that they are going to continue to support us, and that they're especially grateful for the work that we did following Hurricane Helene, which was the largest disaster in our state's history, which left a lot of people very reliant on the radio for news and information they just were not able to access anywhere else. So we are hearing a very strong uprising of voices saying this is something we value and this is something that we're going to continue to support.
Laura, the Trump administration, Republicans, we saw Marjorie Taylor Greene hosting a hearing on Capitol Hill a few weeks ago. Their argument, they're accusing PBS and NPR of having a left-leaning bias. They say that these stations don't represent the large part of the country that voted for Donald Trump, for example. How do you respond to those arguments?
We've seen these critiques before, I think, on both sides of the aisle. I would say from the work that we're doing on the ground, where, we were providing information for people about how to obtain water in a 53-day water crisis, where to access internet. No one was talking about political persuasion at that point. So I think there is just a critical need for news and information for local communities, for our region, and not to dismiss that there is clearly some political divisiveness around this. I think we put our head down every day and do the best that we can to bring the news to our community, and we live in these communities, so we're not removed from that. We are an integral part of Western North Carolina, and I think that is true for stations across the country.
Briefly, Laura, about 30 seconds left here, but what comes next? Where does this fight go from here, do you think?
Well, I think there's a lot of wait and see on the legal front. I think Corporation for Public Broadcasting has said that this executive order is illegal. Both NPR and PBS have both said that they're going to use all means necessary to try to counter this. We were waiting to see if this would go to Congress. So I think it's a lot of just wait to see and continue to do our news and do our work every day.
All right, Laura Lee, news director at Blue Ridge Public Radio. That's an NPR affiliate there in North Carolina. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much.